So this one's gonna be again, or actually the first time, about whether you are shy or actually an introvert. Because there seems to be a difference between those two things, I assume. Yeah. Pretty interesting because, or especially because I have never been thinking about it actually. Just because, like, well, yeah, I do just still think that I'm just something like, well, I don't know. Like, the case is, I often do not want to just talk to people. I want to just, I don't know, be for my own or just be on my own. But I don't know, because I wouldn't really consider myself an introvert as well, or shy particularly as well. Because, often I'm not, especially when I'm just with other people. I'm definitely not shy or definitely not an introvert. But, well, if I'm alone and whatsoever, then somehow, I guess, at least, I don't really know. I really don't. But what I know is that I'm just really fucking pumped to just be here recording this episode and whatsoever. I'm really fucking pumped. Yeah, I'm really pumped. I might even just be uploading 2 episodes again today because I've had 3 days of not doing it so far, of only kind of just uploading like one video, which is okay. Like, it totally is okay. And I've also edited them, which means I cutted them and whatever, and did what was necessary somehow, or what I could be doing for actually making it maybe a little bit like, well, more pleasant or a little bit easier and nicer to consume, maybe. I don't know. Like, the thing there is something that I do just have to talk about pretty quickly. Yesterday I've been watching, I've been watching a video of Gary Vee, and he was talking to the head of culture and trends from YouTube itself, which was pretty interesting, especially for me, and especially because I'm in that space. I just need this kind of information. I'm just, really interested in this kind of information because it could actually just give me a fucking load. It could actually give me just, well, reasons to do things that I'm not doing right now. The thing is, as they were talking about various things, and so as they were talking about YouTube and what the trends were and whatsoever, he said, like, well, it is really not about quality on YouTube. And I thought, like, well, this is interesting because I was doing stuff to actually increase my quality, which is actually the reason why I'm actually, well, cutting the videos or editing them, just so that I have a little bit of better quality for my videos, because I assumed actually that this just makes the videos better. But it actually seems to be the case that it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. The thing there is, he didn't say, like, just give a fuck about your quality, it doesn't really fucking matter. He really didn't say that, I know, and he knows, and I think we all know that quality to some degree definitely matters, even though there are some exceptions, I would say, especially, and this is a topic, or this is an example that I've brought up, I think, once or twice actually before. But if there's a certain topic and this certain topic has only one video, then of course you're gonna watch this one video. If you're just willing to watch videos on this topic, and if you learn through videos and whatsoever, you're gonna watch this fucking video, no matter if it is 10 by 10 pixels or not. You're gonna watch it just because, which I think just makes sense, because you're in need of this information, and this just pretty much closes the gap of, or the gap between you and the information, because then there is the video. The thing is, it is really not about quality, and something that I've also seen yesterday, just because I then was a little bit looking forward into this space, or I was just a little bit kind of exploring this certain space of, okay, growing on YouTube, just doing better videos and all this stuff, and I've stumbled across one of PewDiePie's videos, and he was also like, well, the person in the video really fucking matters. If you're not a good growth hacker, as Gary Vee as well said, if you're not really one of the persons who is actually kind of just, well, yeah, so good with thumbnails or titles or whatsoever that actually people go ahead and click on this fucking video, you just need to have a proper or, I would say specific personality, or just really unique personality, so that people actually come, not just, or click, just, not because of the thumbnail or just other various things like the title, which also seems to be just pretty important. Still, I believe that just being good at thumbnails and titles and whatsoever is pretty important, because I think it's the first step that people will actually click on your video. Just because it is. There's nothing else but this singular first step. Therefore, just being able to do good thumbnails, doing good titles and so on, and it's definitely important. But the thing is, just because YouTube actually kind of prefers watch time over clicks, which means, okay, the time people actually stay on your product and or on your video and or what you're producing, then how many clicks you have, because, okay, some people actually have such a great thumbnail or such a great title that people actually click on it, but in the end, nobody watches the full video. And therefore, just YouTube is like, well, okay, it is a good thumbnail, but nobody watches it. And of course, YouTube wants to have a lot of people as long as possible on their fucking platform. Because of advertising money. It is about money. It really is about money. It's not really like, well, we do just want to have people like having a good time or something. It just makes sense, The longer the people are on the website, the longer the people are on the video, which just actually also increases the chance of this video having more than one ad in it, the better. Which makes sense, which is okay. There's nothing to kind of just complain about that, I guess. It just makes sense, from a company perspective for the viewers and whatsoever. It might be a little bit fucked up just because, okay, having 25 fucking ads in one singular video might not be the best thing. But the thing is, quality doesn't matter so much, if you just, especially if you do just have, well, pretty nice thumbnails and it's just such a personality that you do just have to fucking watch. Therefore, I'm just really thinking about actually producing more, because they were also talking about volume and not really quality. Producing more, like again, the 2 videos, even though, I do just had some issues with it, like with, okay, actually feeling bad because of it, or my well-being not being as high as it could be just because of it, which I'm really looking just out for, to really just see, okay, to kind of ensure that I'm feeling good, basically. But yeah, so maybe I'm gonna edit them just, the fact is, or the thing is, I do just want to edit them just because I do just want to distribute all the clips and or certain parts of this singular video as well on various other platforms. And this is only possible if I go through them, cut them and whatever. And then okay, I could definitely just go through it, cut whatever is just possible or necessary, and then also cut the things out that are nice to distribute to other platforms. Which includes 2 processes in one, which is then good because it saves some time. But yeah, enough being talked about YouTube and this thing. Actually going ahead with, I don't know why. There might have been a lag right now, I don't know. But yeah, we are going ahead with the actual article that we're going through, which is from the ideas.ted.com website, and again in the We Human section, as we, I think, have gone through thousands of articles in this section. And it is titled, "What's the difference between shyness and introversion? And how can companies help introverts thrive?" A Q&A with Susan Cain. I don't know who Susan Cain is, but it is from July 29th. It's actually from yesterday, 2019. So in this over-scheduled, over-stimulating world, it is no surprise that many of us feel like introverts at some point during our days. In an excerpt from the TED interview podcast, writer Susan Cain talks about how workplaces can better support people's quieter side and what helped her conquer her fear of public speaking. I believe that I wouldn't have such big issues with actually speaking in public, just because I like speaking, I guess. You can tell. I assume, at least. But I guess still I think they're just basically describing how I'm feeling or how I see myself. Like, just basically, okay, having silent times, of course, is nice, but I also just like being under people or being with people or just being accompanied by other people. But yeah, in 2012, Susan Cain kicked off a quiet revolution. She published a book, Quiet. Well, The power of introverts in a world that can't stop talking. And she gave a TED talk about the power of introverts. Both the book, and by the way, I've already heard something about, okay, why introverts are actually better than extroverts or extraverts. I always thought, like, there's also an O, an extrovert, but it is actually not the case. It is extravert. But the thing is, I've already heard something about introverts and why they're actually great or somehow better, even though, like, you can't just generalize it just because, and why they are better or seem to be than the extroverts. But I don't know. But I unfortunately don't know where I've gotten this one from. Therefore, we're just going ahead. Both the book and the talk brought introverts to the forefront of public awareness, dispelled false ideas about them, and highlighted their gifts. Chris Anderson, the head of TED, recently spoke to Cain for an episode of the TED interview podcast. Here is a portion of their conversation. It's been edited for clarity and length. Definitely, like, it is actually something that's pretty interesting. If you had a look at some basically show notes or basically the transcribed version of an interview, you definitely understand that it has to be edited. Like, it has to be edited. It has to be fucking edited. Like, it has to. Just because, like, people like me, for example, I talk about so much things and so many various things in one sentence. It is like, okay, I'm going to begin the sentence with I and end it with, I don't know, they, suddenly, just because I kind of get caught up in my own thoughts. Therefore, editing it and just making it a little bit more clear is necessary, at my point of view. Because I once actually also on a podcast went through and Jeff Bezos interview, I guess, and it was also the exact same case. It was like, well, I read the sentence. The thing is that has to be pointed out is that I read it. I read the sentence and thought, like, what the motherfucking shit is this? Just because I haven't understood anything, nothing, nada, niente, none. Well, no, it's never mind. So Chris Anderson says, in your book, you say that shyness is not necessarily the same as introversion. Can you explain the difference? Susan Cain, shyness is about the fear of social judgment. So if you're going out on the ice and everybody's watching you, you're feeling an acutely, painfully heightened self-consciousness. Then later on in life, it would show up in job interviews and things like that. And introversion is much more about the preference for environments where there's just a little less going on. It is more mellow, it is more chill, and that's where you feel that you're most alive. Well, I really don't feel so, because I really believe that I'm the most alive when people are around. I definitely am. And this is actually what I've been thinking about yesterday as well. Like, yesterday, I was clearly picturing how I'm gonna sit here with the fucking energy that I'm having right now, trying to make the episode as good as it possibly can so that I might not edit it afterwards, just because I think I won't, maybe a little bit, because just, well, having a product that is first of all just pretty fucking high in energy and also a little bit higher in quality, like, even though it doesn't matter that much, but I guess I should just try out shit. Therefore I picture this picture of mine just sitting here having as much energy as I possibly fucking put out there, and just also being myself, maybe, and just also being how I'm actually when other people are around, because then I'm definitely different. I'm just way more alive. I'm shouting around. I'm just picturing myself like I would be a fucking hooligan or something. I am sometimes, to be honest. Even though it just sounds to be a little bit strange right now, I sometimes am, and I don't know why. I don't know, maybe I just get caught up in just people being around me, just being way too much energetic. But yeah, let's move on. Anderson says, someone could be shy, but when an extrovert in a sense that they actually want to connect with other people. I'm gonna read it again. So someone could be shy, but be an extrovert in the sense that they actually want to connect with other people. They just don't know how to, and they are fearful of initiating connection. But when they do, they are happy to spend lots and lots of time with those people. Whereas the introvert may be quite good at the initial hello, but within half an hour they are feeling stress inside and wanting to retreat. Is that the difference? Question mark. And Cain says, it is something like that, but I'm thinking a lot about the internal experience. And now in brackets, because they have just edited it to make it a little bit more clear. So when you meet new people, what are you feeling? How joyful do you feel to be entering into this gathering of people, and how nervous do you feel? And I think it is actually a pretty great thing to also maybe understand yourself a little bit more, like to maybe just see, well, yeah, I'm clearly an introvert, or I'm clearly just shy. Also nice. I think this was actually the main thought why I've taken this article, or why I just actually started to go through this article. But yeah. Anderson says, everyone's on a spectrum that goes from extroversion to introversion, right? So what does that spectrum look like? Cain says, it depends on which study you look at, and it is so hard because it depends on how you're defining these terms in the study. One study that I just looked at found there were 40% introverts, 20% who would call themselves ambivert, or people who really feel that they're in the middle of both, and 40% more on the extrovert side. But there is no absolute. I would say so as well, because everybody just feels sometimes like, okay, I want to be alone. Like it's totally normal. I think it's totally like everyone's feeling this, and everyone's feeling like this. Especially, I'm, for example, experiencing it when I've been just accompanied by people for just a long time. Then I really feel like, well, having a little bit of time for myself and just being on my own for a little bit wouldn't be that bad. The thing is, on the really other side, it is really like, okay, when I've been alone for quite some time, I'm really feeling like not good. The thing is, I don't really see, and then maybe this is even helping you, but I'm just spitting there right now. And the thing is, when I'm then just meeting with other people, and when I'm just engaging then with other people, whether it be just calling them or just whatever it will be, it is just really like, yeah, I'm feeling better. The thing is, I didn't know, and therefore actually also kind of thinking about trying out more things, and also just trying out more things in various situations. Like, okay, me trying out things might be in the sense of YouTube, or might be in the sense of producing content, doing what I'm doing right here. For you, it might be if you're a musician, doing other songs, using other beats, using other lyrics, using another style of how you rap, whatever it will be. I guess in general, just, trying out various other things, especially when you haven't got to something in terms of success now, and also when you have been successful, or when you are successful. Just because I believe, and now I'm also referring to PewDiePie, because he said, him being bored, of so many things that he was doing from when he started to now, and was a pretty crucial thing, because he obviously changed those things up. Just because he was bored of them, he did something else, and it's just created such a framework for him and for his community and audience, where he doesn't get bored, and they themselves do not get bored as well, which is just a win-win. Like, he doesn't get bored, and the audience doesn't get bored. It is nice, and therefore, also in such a sense, maybe you should try out more. Maybe you should try out different things, higher volume, whatever. Just try out, I would say. But to kind of end this little section, I wouldn't say that anybody on this fucking planet is either one of those things. It is either an introvert or either an extrovert or extravert. I believe that everyone is something from time to time, or everyone is everything from time to time. Anderson says, it seems to me that people's external persona and what they feel inside may be different. I think there's a lot of people who look as if they're extroverts, but if you were to hear their internal dialogue, they often get that feeling of social stress, of I need to breathe, I need some me time, and I need to get away. Cain says, I cannot tell you how many people are described by what you just said. And I really felt it when I gave the TED Talk in 2012. You might remember I was one of the first speakers that year, and I came off the stage and spent the entire rest of that week absolutely besieged. Is it besieged? I guess it is. Besieged by the other attendees, who all wanted to tell me that what you just described was their living reality. It describes so many people from whom you would least expect it. Yeah, I would say so. Like, I would in general say that often I think the picture that we are just having of ourselves is, well, I don't know. Just because of what I've just said before, like, okay, I really feel like, not meeting people, but in the end it is just good for me when I'm meeting people. And actually, knowing some things like this, just being more self-aware is something that's incredibly valuable. It is really fucking valuable. Just because, okay, if you know yourself, you know what you should be doing, you know what you should not be doing, and you can somehow be sure or ensure that you're feeling good, I guess. And that you're feeling just great, no matter fucking what. But well, yeah. I do believe that, quite some people, just I believe in it. I don't know why. There's actually no fucking point for me believing this, but I just assume that it is actually the case that such a lot of people actually just think about them in a different way than they maybe actually are internally. Just maybe also because they want to see themselves as somebody different than they actually are, which is not good. Like, well, you are you, and this is amazing. Like, nobody else is like you are, and it is amazing whether it is about your looks or whether it is about who you are from the inside. You are you, and this is fucking amazing. Fuck yeah. This is some good shit. It is really some good shit. But yeah. Anderson says, we not only made you do a talk, we then put you through hell of being besieged by many people. Cain answers, no, well, this is the thing. I actually laughed at because I really love to be able to talk to people about what they actually think and feel. For me, small talk is the kryptonite. So the amazing thing is, since I've written this book, I almost never have to do small talk because people will now talk to me about whatever it is that is making them feel vulnerable. And we kind of get to the heart of it. I do believe, that she is kind of bothered by small talk, I guess. I don't know. I'm just thinking about whether I am as well. Maybe there's something in between. Sometimes it's just really fucked up and pretty unnecessary. And it's like, especially the thing that I'm maybe the most bored of is actually asking people how they are feeling, and just because they're answering like, yo, well, I'm really good. I'm doing really good. Everything's fine. Like, how are you doing? The thing there is, well, of course, I'm really not saying that people should actually kind of tell me everything, but I don't know, like, I would just really kind of know how they're feeling when I'm fucking asking them, yeah, like, I do just still believe in it because I'm doing it myself, when somebody's asking me how I'm doing, and I'm not doing pretty well, I'm still saying, like, yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. Just because, just also because I do not want to talk about various things, but like, yeah, I think there's just understanding on both sides. On my side of saying like, okay, it would be nice to actually know how people are feeling, and on the other side, which is also me, of being like, well, I do not want to talk about the very internal things that I'm thinking about with everyone. But yeah. Maybe it just bothers me by the closest people that I'm having, or the people that are closest to me, and when I'm then asking them like, well, even, I've been just talking on the phone to a friend of mine just, I think, yesterday, or the day, no, I think it was the day before, so today is Tuesday, it was on Sunday, and I was like, yeah, how are you doing? And he was like, yeah, pretty fine. And then I asked why, and he said like, okay, this and this and this. It is good, because, I'm not asking. The thing is, I'm not asking just because, just because it's some obligatory shit or something. I'm just asking it because I want to know how this person is feeling. It's just what it is. But yeah, let's actually go ahead. Anderson says, that's interesting. Based on that, isn't it possible that rather than saying 1/3 to 1/2 of people are introverts, you might say that the majority of people at times feel intensely the kinds of feelings that introverts feel, and even someone who shades extrovert overall can learn from some of this? Cain says, I think that's right. There's some people for whom the introvert label is like, okay, that really is me. And then there's other people where they just have that experience from time to time. Maybe they have it in back-to-back day of company meetings or something like that. What's really happening is for all the what's really happening is for all the talk about how we are disappearing into our isolated technologies, we still are living in a culture that really does expect us to be on a remarkable percentage of of the time, often with people who we don't know that well or have never ever met before, which isn't necessarily what we are evolved to do, and so that's difficult for most humans. So if I've read that correctly, and I think I haven't, to be fucking honest, just because do you know this moment when you're just reading something and just while you're reading it, you just clearly see, okay, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It was just this particular moment, but I don't know, as far as I've just kind of seen this right now is that, a lot of people seem actually to struggle with those things, like actually not knowing themselves that well, or actually having the feelings from time to time, which is totally fine and totally okay at my point of view. I'm just still seeing how much there is left, actually, because I'm already quite a lot in, and I might even end the episode there, just because, I don't know, maybe having just shorter episodes is better. I don't know. I don't really fucking know. Yeah. The thing is, what I'm asking myself right now, what I'm thinking about right now is whether I should actually edit this episode or not. And just because I think I should actually not, because I've done a good job at just switching through the scenes that I'm having during the episode, which basically makes up for a big part of me editing it. Because when I'm editing it, I might only be just cutting out some parts where I just, stood up, closed the window or something like this. So, in the end, it's really I could also not cut it. The thing there is, do I feel good when I'm not cutting it? If this is actually the case, I don't know. It could actually be the case. It could actually just only be the case while I'm cutting it, that I feel better than just uploading it. The thing there is, then, I clearly feel this way. But the thing is, then when I go through the episode and I clearly see how much knowledge and how much of me and myself is in this particular episode, then I'm like, well, yeah. I'm just not gonna edit it. Because there's just enough value and there's just enough information. It's just enough, I guess. But yeah. I wish you the best health, happiness, and success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you gonna be fucking remembered. Which means your legacy. Because we totally have it in our hands. We totally have it in our kind of control. Even though the thing is, we can't serve everyone. Something that I just truly always want to point out, that I'm really hoping that I will never forget it. We can't serve everyone. We can't make everyone like us just because it is what it is. It is just what it is. So yeah, don't even bother, I would say. Don't actually really bother to do it, to try it, to whatever. But yeah. With that being said, thank you very much for listening and or watching if you were on the podcast. But yeah, I see you the next time. I love you. Thank you. Stay cool. Something. I see you.